Audio test 1, 2, 3, facilitator mic. Podium mic check 1, 2, 3, 4. Good morning to our attendees who are joining us here in the virtual platform. If there are any members of the public who wish to offer public comment or agenda item commentary, please raise your hand at this time. I do see Yvonne has your hand raised.
Hi there.
Hi, good morning, Yvonne. How are you?
I'm doing good, and we've got a good connection today.
Yes, thank you.
I'd like to do general public comment on the minutes and items 1 and 2, please.
Very well. I have you down for public comment and multiple agenda item commentary.
Yes.
I will call upon you when we reach those items. Thank you.
Thank you.
morning once again to our city staff and our attendees who are here joining us physically in the board hearing room. And good morning as well to our attendees who are joining us on the virtual platform. For those of you on the virtual platform who wish to offer public commentary or agenda item commentary, or both, please raise your hand. I'll ask you to identify yourself for the record and which item you'd like to speak on. And then we will call on you when we reach that item. Gigi, would you like to offer commentary this morning? We'll come back to Gigi. Georgina, would you like to offer commentary this morning?
Yes, and agenda items, please.
General public comment?
Public comment and agenda item, please.
Very well. I have you down for public comment and multiple agenda item commentary.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and put you back on mute and lower your hand. Gigi, good morning.
Good morning. I have my hand raised now. Before I didn't.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yes, I want to do general 1 and 2 and the minutes.
Very well. I have you down for public comment and multiple agenda item commentary.
Thank you.
I'm going to go ahead and put you back. Oh, oops, sorry. You have muted yourself. I'm going to go ahead and lower your hand. Children's Voices Matter. Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, I would like a public commentary, please.
Very well. I have you down for public comment.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and put you back on mute and lower your hand. And I'll move on to Jill. Good morning.
Public comment.
Very well. I have you down for public comment, Jill. Thank you. I will lower your hand and put you back on mute. If there's anyone else who has not already identified themselves and which item they'd like to speak on, please raise your hand at this time. It is 9:47. The board meeting will start at about 10 a.m. I'll make another request for commentary in approximately 10 minutes. Thank you.
Did it?
Good morning once again to our attendees who are joining us here in the board hearing room. Good morning to city staff, your representatives, members of the public. Good morning as well to the attendees who are joining us on the virtual platform. I do have a number of public commenters and multiple agenda item commenters who have identified themselves and which item they'd like to speak on. I have Yvonne, Gigi, Georgina, Children's Voices Matter, and Jill. And I do see Miriam, you have your hand raised. I'm going to go ahead and ask you to unmute and identify
Yeah.
which. Good morning, Miriam. Would you like
Mo-
to offer
mo-
commentary?
Morning. General public comment,
Very
please.
well. I have you down for public comment.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and put you back on mute and lower your hand. If there's any other members of the public who wish to offer commentary this morning, please raise your hand. Identify yourself for the record and which item you'd like to speak on. It is 9:55. We should get started with the board meeting in approximately 5 minutes. President Kang, we are recording and we are now ready to begin.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Public Works for Wednesday, September 10th, 2025. Mr. Knight, please take roll and establish quorum.
Thank you. Good morning, President Kang, Vice President Chavez, President Pro Tem Grant, Commissioner Mitchell, and Commissioner Cardenas are present. We have a quorum. We were joined this morning by City Attorney Representative Virginia Choi. Sorry about that. I'm TJ Knight, Assistant Executive Officer. President Kang, we have one public commenter and multiple agenda item commenter here in the hearing room. And we have 6 public commenters and 3 multiple agenda item commenters on the virtual platform. We have no neighborhood council commentary this morning.
Thank you very much. We will get started with the general public comment, which is an opportunity for the public to address the board on public interest items and will be provided up to a minute per person, up to a cumulative total of 10 minutes for the general public comment segment of each regular meeting. Testimony shall be limited in content to subject matters which are within the jurisdiction of the Board of Public Works. The board may not take any action on any matters discussed during the public comment period. We will start with in-person comment cards. Welcome, Audit LA.
Audit LA, please approach the podium and you'll have 60 seconds to offer your public comment.
Take your time.
Good morning, everyone. I'm glad there's public comment today. And I just want to talk about what I've been talking about, and that's revoking the R permit and not granting any more permits until Scientology is in line with the law and what we expect from organizations. And I believe they're applying for their annual permit for October for Halloween. Last Halloween, they had this creepy maze that they had adults like in dark clothing on the inside, and you couldn't see what these adults were doing. And these kids would go in there, and it was very alarming to anyone watching, but not to Scientology because they don't see children as children. So I guess it didn't faze them, but it was very frightening to the rest of us. And that's just one thing that if you do grant them their permit, please don't let them have that maze. It was just bad.
Thank you very much. Our second in-person speaker is Mr. Trump.
Good morning. Isn't it shameful that after 15 years of my complaining about Temple Street resurfacing and your failure to repair the infrastructure that Jenny Chan's or Chavez over there doesn't care a fuck about children is doing about those streets? Finally, today you're working on it, right? Public Works is resurfacing our fucking sidewalks and streets. But what about my curb ramps? What about the one off of Broadway at the LA Times building, across street from the courthouse, across street from the fucking law library? What are you doing about it? This country is so fucking disgusting. It's shameful that those fucking Koreans on the Hyundai were all here working illegally, taking my job away where I could be making $95 an hour doing shit like the rest of you shitholes that work for this fucking criminal enterprise Los Angeles. You should be ashamed of yourself. 42 U.S.C. 1983 politely, fuck you.
Thank you very much. We will transition over to our virtual platform.
Thank you, President Kang. We'll start with Yvonne, followed by Gigi. Go ahead, Yvonne.
Thank you. Please put on the agenda or take the action necessary to revoke the revocable permit of granting Scientology the responsibility and oversight of L. Ron Hubbard Way. Return the parking meters on Ron Hubbard Way and do an accounting of the number of parking meters on Fountain in that same area. I believe that there's indications on the sidewalk that there's missing meters there. Also, go back and find out when the last parking meter revenue was collected and calculate how much has been lost during the duration of the missing meters. Bill that to the Scientology and add a fine for theft from the city resources. That's about all, other than please do not allow them to have any
Thank you.
more permit.
Thank you, Yvonne. That's 60 seconds. We'll move next to Gigi, followed by Georgina.
Yes. So after about a year of looking and calling and trying to track down any proof that there's no parking on L. Ron Hubbard Way, I still cannot get confirmation that there is no parking except for the signs, which a CASP report says that those aren't even city signs or they're not regulated, whatever. But I'm sure that Scientology put those signs up themselves. So I'm still looking for proof of that street having no parking. And I'm wondering why there's no metered parking on that street. Also about the revocable permit, I don't know why it hasn't been revoked at this point, but why aren't you guys looking into that? Please move faster with that. And for Halloween, if you do let them get that permit, don't let that maze be there, because that maze is wrong. And there's footage on YouTube if you want to see of what it was last year. There are creepy people going in there, adults going in there with the kids. Like, please, don't give them the permit at all, but if you have to, don't let that maze be there. Thank you.
And we'll move
Greetings.
next. Go.
Oh,
Actually, next is Georgina. Children's Voices Matter is after Georgina. Go ahead, Georgina.
Thank you. I also want the revocable permit revoked. It's they've abused that street. They've stolen that street from the city. They went out at night and painted the curb red and literally stole that street, removed valuable parking from the people of the community. That street needs to have metered parking on it so you can recoup the cost of retrofitting it with meters. It needs, and for the repairs that will need to be done, it needs to be kept open. That street cannot be kept continuously closed. It's the only avenue of escape for their Sea Org, aka hostages. If they don't have any access to public and outdoor space, how are they ever going to escape? There's been several attempts at people to escape just in this past year. People putting signs in the window yelling out, a little girl running from the building to try to find help, begging them not to call the police because the police were just going to hand them back to Scientology. I yield back my time.
Thank you. And Children's Voices Matter. This is now your 60 seconds, and you'll be followed by Jill. Go ahead.
thank you. Yes, I wanted to finish or continue with the list of Scientology children that have been failed by Scientology. Shane Rabaki, Jillian Schlesinger, Heather Powers, Melissa Holmes, Michelle Reed, Sarah Seltzer, Aaron Tweddle, Shane Whiteman, Zeb Brady, Laura Brooke, Danny Armado, Zach Hopkins, Jason Hordovic, Andrea Lombard, Paul McDaniel, Sean Ongley, Shane Kelsey, Shelby Lafreniere, Nina LaFleur Davila, Mike Laws, Tyler Adams, Mike Brown, Gary Jackson Moorhead, Aaron Smith Levin, Colin Smith Levin, rest in peace, Sabrina Zimmer, Claire Headley, Mark Headley, Amy Scobie, Christy King Colburn, Mike Rinder, rest in peace, Tara Rell, Leah Remini, Nicole
Thank
Remini,
you. That's
Shannon.
60 seconds, and we'll move next to Jill, followed by Miriam.
Hi, I implore that you get rid of the R permits. Do not give them any kind of permits for the Halloween event. Also, you're going to have lawsuits. There was an article in yesterday in the Citizen Portal entitled "City Faces Surge in Lawsuits Linked to Scientology's Alleged Crimes Against Humanity." You need to do your job. I tagged you on YouTube in this article. Do yourself a favor and avail yourself of reading the article in which I tagged you in this article. Read about it and do something about it. Stop being all talk and no action. Bye.
Miriam, go ahead.
Thank you. I strongly advise the board to revoke the permit for the upcoming Halloween event on L. Ron Hubbard Way. The cult of Scientology has a long and documented history of violating permit conditions. They block both sidewalks, erect oversized structures, and hire petting zoos despite animals being explicitly prohibited. There has also been several documented general safety violations. These are not minor oversights. They are repeated, deliberate violations that disrupt the community and disregard the rules set by this board. I urge you to deny any future permits and suggest that Scientology utilize their large, empty parking lot instead. They usually only draw a handful of attendees anyway. Thank you.
That concludes the attendees who had previously identified that they wish to offer public commentary, President King. However, there is an additional hand raised on the virtual platform, and a quick time check for you. There is approximately 40 seconds left on the 10-minute block.
Please check. Thank
Very
you.
well. Laura, would you like to offer public comment this morning?
Yes, please.
Go ahead.
Thank you, and thank you for letting me jump on as well last minute. Board, thank you, Mr. Kang. We spent at least 4 hours last night getting a bunch of video links, YouTube links from protesters that have obvious footage of people working on public streets, the security guards obviously running the area. But please, if there's a chance at all and you guys are deeply listening, please revoke their Halloween permit that you guys just gave them. Please revoke that. This is a recruitment event. I will be there. I will be at the Halloween. Please revoke this. This is not okay. I was a child born and raised in this. This is your job now. So I'll be sending you all of that today. I'm asking, please revoke the L. Ron Hubbard temporary, their R permit, and please revoke the Halloween permit. Please, please, please. Thank you. I yield my time.
And that concludes public commentary, President Kane.
Thank you very much. With that, we will close the general public comment portion of today's meeting and move on to multiple agenda item public comment. The board will provide an opportunity for members of the public wishing to speak on more than one agenda item during multiple agenda item public comment period for up to a minute per item, up to a total of 3 minutes per meeting. This is the only time to speak on more than one agenda item, and please identify the items that you will speak on when you are called. We will start with in-person speakers. First up, we have Audit Ale.
Good morning again, and I'm glad to see that minutes are on here. So I want to talk about the minutes first, and I'm going to talk about all the items. Again, like here today, we got a little bit of good news. It looks like certain things that, that Mr. Trump, I guess, was, coming here for a long time is being addressed. So that's a great job, right? That's thanks to you guys. You made that happen. And it means to me, it gives me hope because it says, here's a commission that is listening, that they're trying, that they have this whole city to manage, and people keep bringing us their one little problem. Maybe it seems like, but we're listening, we're doing our best. And so I thank you for that. But that's not going to be reflected, I think, in Friday's, whenever the next minutes are going to be approved. That's sadly not going to be reflected, and it should be. Because why not? Let the people see, because that would inspire a lot of people that you're listening. And then also, there are a lot of people coming here, right, talking about their concern for children with this Halloween event. That it's nothing that should be geared towards children. And it might be a good thing to note that even if you don't give specifics, that numerous people were talking about a certain concern for children because it comes under your permitting event. And, and that won't be reflected unless you change your mind and you do start doing this stuff, which I hope you do. I guess I'm a city attorney, can figure out the legalities of all that. But I'll move on to number one. Now we're talking about another increase. Now I've noted that I do hear more questions happening when people come up because I listen beyond when I'm at home watching. I listen beyond, and I do hear a difference. I hear more questions than I ever did from any of the previous commissions. And I think I'm on number for the past year and a half I've been coming. I think you're like the fourth board. So I feel like we're finally getting somewhere. And so keep that up. But not only maybe asking questions, but making them before they even present it, like maybe getting something in place where they kind of have to have it together. Because Yvonne made a really good point last time that it's really not, it affects the budget because, right, because they're coming in, we're saying, okay, this is the budget coming out of our budget, but then now what really is coming out of the budget is this higher amount. So, and we're in a budget crunch right now. And so the best thing you can do for us with our purse is to be real diligent about that. And as far as sidewalk repair, can we add a little bit of money to that budget for the sidewalk and do the fountain sidewalk? I can't go down it. So even when I do my auditing, I go do, I want to go down that. I can't do it. I'll get flipped out. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next in-person speaker is Mr. Trump.
The minutes and all items. Why does it take so long to fix a pothole? Why does it take so long for you to address our public sidewalks and streets? It's the public's money. And if you know how to budget, if you know how to spend money and hire the right contractor, guess what? Everyone in the city, everyone in the country looks with thumbs up saying, these people are doing a great job, like the former people that Mayor Bradley hired, who did excellent work. My uncle worked for street maintenance. He was an excellent supervisor. He never was harsh. He always provided extra hours, extra work hours for those that needed it, and those that didn't want to work, he gave them the day off to be with their families instead of slaving on the hot asphalt, slurry sealing the hot streets, digging trenches and putting in pipes. My uncle was a bad motherfucker by the last name of Louis German. Isn't that ironic? His last name is German and my name is Herman. No, it's because we're badass motherfuckers. Look him up. Louis German retired from LA City Public Works street maintenance. He was a bad motherfucker, just like I am, because I take after my family. Except I'm just a little more cynical and critical when it comes to public sidewalks and streets for people like the young woman behind me in her wheelchair audit, who deserves the decency at her age and time to roll over any public sidewalk, any pathway, any route of travel without having to come here and complain. She wouldn't be here complaining if it wasn't true in my statements. Just like I mentioned earlier about the Temple and Acacia Street out here that they're resurfacing. It takes so long. People are tired of the stealing. People are tired of the criminal government. But now let me go into the other avenue of what I believe in. You see this cane? Does that mean I'm disabled? Does this mean that I have a disability? We want to know that. I want to know. Do I have a mental disability? Has anyone of you ever reached out other than John to talk with me and befriend me and let me know that he's going to make things better for me? John's the only one. Why is that? I have compassion. I used to be a nurse for 6 years at County USC. I got a record of doing things for people, making people feel good and making their lives so great without discrimination or race.
Thank you very much. We will transition to our virtual platform.
Thank you, President Kang. We'll start with Yvonne, followed by Gigi. Reminder to please identify which item you're speaking on as you begin.
There we are. First, we're going to start off with the minutes. I appreciate them only 30-some pages this time around. The minutes are, I'm going to say, frustrating for somebody to find in order to review. When I'm reading the agenda in its full form, it does not identify that you need to go back to the other date in order to read the minutes that you're referencing in the agenda. That's a small annoyance. The bigger annoyance is, of course, that public public response was received, or public comment was received. What public comment? Okay. Every time the public repeats, please remove the revocable permit, should be listed as a comment that was made. Please don't grant special event permits to Scientology. Should be a comment made. The record keeping historically is not going to look favorable upon you. When we identify the risk to the city that revocable permit represents, it should be noted in the comments. I can explain that risk in greater detail if I had the time. Number two, 28 repairs. How many are left? I'm sorry, I want to go with number one first. You've acquired additional $1 million cost to the city citizens, and apparently it was a result of a consultant of record. How convenient. These are the people the city hired to do planning and draw up the sketches that then give the contractor the specifications onto which they bid and perform their task. Now, is that consultant of record responsible for refunding any of the cost associated with their failures and errors? I hope so. It's not indicated in the agenda. The other thing is, number two, 28 repairs to sidewalks. Great. How
Thank
many
you.
more are to go?
Thank you, Yvonne. That's 3 minutes. We'll move next to Gigi, followed by Georgina. Go ahead.
Okay, so I want to do minutes 1 and 2. So for the minutes, it might not seem like such a big deal. It's only part of the minutes that we're talking about. The public comment has been received. You know, like I've seen multiple switch ups in this commission. You know, I've been here for a long time, longer than you guys. And I have to say, we have the best president that we've had. And I have hope and I have faith that something this small could be taken care of very easily and that you can take care of it. You know, I wish that when you go to approve the minutes, that someone would just step up and say, you know, how can we approve this if it's public comments been received and that's not completely accurate? It's omitting a lot of information. You know, like, please do something about something small, because that's progress still. Even if it's a baby step, something small, you're doing something. So please. Okay, number one, again, we're seeing something that is over budget. And I'm wondering, is there a way when there's like these bids or whatever they're called, can they have 2 different numbers for you? One for if things go how they're planned, and then 2, if this happens, it'll cost this much more money. If this happens, it'll cost that much more. I don't know if that's currently how you guys do it, but you shouldn't, number 2, you shouldn't be taking the low bid. It says low bid, but low bid, you get what you paid for, and then they ask for more money and they come back and take more money from the city. The bids don't seem to be accurate at all. So please continue to ask the questions that you've been asking. Continue to press them. But please don't just take the lowest bid, because it's not always going to be the lowest in the end. Thank you.
Georgina McPhee.
Hi, thank you. I want to speak on the minutes and on agenda item number 2. I agree with the previous two that the minutes need to reflect what is actually occurring. People, like she said, Gigi said, don't go from committee to committee and read all the back minutes. And even if they were to, they're not going to see all the things that we've been saying and doing. And we've been doing this for months and months, some of them a year, trying to get a message across. And that message is being obfuscated by not being included in the minutes. And that needs to be addressed. Agenda item number 2 about the sidewalk repairs, that reminded me that I was just at the Big Blue building a few days ago. There are numerous huge cracks and unlevel pavement parts on Fountain Avenue that need to be addressed that have been caused by Scientology watering for 48 hours straight when they had those big, heavy aggregate-filled planters on that sidewalk. And it's totally destroyed that part of the sidewalk and made it not ADA accessible. Thank you. I yield back my time.
President Kang, that concludes multiple agenda item commentary this morning.
Thank you very much. With that, we will close the multiple item public comment portion of today's meeting and move forward with the approval of minutes for Friday, August 29th, 2025. Commissioners, any comments or questions? Seeing none, is there a first and a second?
So move. Second.
First by President Pro Tem Grant, seconded by Commissioner Mitchell.
Very well, we'll go ahead and take a roll call vote on approval of minutes, starting with you, President Kang.
Aye.
Vice President Chavez.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Grant.
Aye.
Commissioner Mitchell. And Commissioner Cardenas.
Aye.
All ayes, and this item is approved unanimous.
Thank you very much. Moving on to our agenda item number 1 from the Bureau of Engineering for Council District 8, revised budget and change order number 38. This has been continued from last Wednesday.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is George Huang from the Bureau of Engineering Street Improvement Division. I'm joined by also our Principal Engineer, Noor Mohit. And then we're here to continue this item that was before the board last week, which was for the Active Transportation Program Jefferson Boulevard Complete Street Project. We came to the board asking for an additional contingency increase to the project construction budget of $1.125 million, and also to authorize the city engineer to issue a unilateral change order in the amount of $580,000, which would have covered cost impacts for delays that were occurred between June 29th, 2023 to March 18, 2025. The board at the time asked us to address 3 questions regarding to the time impact and the cost of related to the increase of the contingency. The first question was what quality control measures are being implemented to prevent similar issues on future projects. As we addressed last week, the issue was related to a stoppage of work due to when the contractor was in the field and they did their survey, and they found that a lot of the work that they were going to construct did not join in with the existing surroundings of the environment. So when the work was constructed, there was kind of what we call it the join, which is usually along kind of the back of walk or the property line, where at the end limits of our repair, they were not meeting flushed with the existing sidewalk or the existing yard of the property. So it created like this vertical drop instead of being leveled on surface. So since then, we had talked to our Bureau of Engineering Survey Division. We met last week on September 4th to just kind of have an open discussion about what quality control measures that are currently available and in place. And we reference there's a BOE has a surveys preliminary topographic guideline, surveyed guideline, which is available on our website. And in it highlights if survey work is performed by outside consultant and non-city staff. There's certain horizontal control, vertical controls in terms of the survey that needs to be established, and it's based off of the city's monuments and benchmarks that are scattered in the field, and those are we have to make the outside surveyor has to use those type of elevations and information and show that information in the when they present the survey or when we get their files. So city staff, we're working on providing. So for all the land survey that is being performed, we'll make sure we're gonna look at the working quality, make sure that that once we get the deliverables from these consultants who are providing the survey, we're gonna be having our project managers look at these and make sure we have an updated checklist to review that these guidelines are met. We're also going to deliver them to our BOE survey more frequently. I know in this particular project, after looking through our records, we had to provided our BOE survey. We submitted it twice during the phase of the design phase of the project. And then one of the other processes that we talked about with our survey, city surveyor, was that once these requirements are met according to the guidelines, we want to take some of these elevations that in our project limits and have our BOE survey try to replicate the elevation points. And I know because of staffing resources, we can't sample everything, but what we looked at in our plans was that half of the elevations that we had on our drawings did to a certain degree be accurate to what was out in the field when the contractor was doing their construction staking survey. So, and then the other half of the project had more significant type of variations. So I think going forward, having our survey just kind of check some of these, sample some of these elevations in the field would definitely increase the degree of accuracy that our designers are using going forward to design the curb ramps and the sidewalk. So, and then for question 2, the question was what lessons learned are being applied to other active transportation projects currently in design. The shortest answer is for us is to try to use whenever possible our BOE survey resources instead of using outside city staff. That was stressed in our meeting with our in our meeting with our survey division. But if you know in the future there is that backlog, a lot of the active transportation program projects, we have a lot of funding deadlines. So we have expenditure deadlines. We have to allocate the funds. So somehow the project has to be done. So if resources are not available, we may still have to put in our task order solicitation to use outside resources to do the survey. And prior to that, I think just make sure the verification is done like we mentioned before, or I mentioned in the number part 1, is just to check the deliverables are that the tie-ins are calculated based on cities established control. And then also the other point was looking at our design drawings for this ATP Jefferson project. A lot of it was replacing sidewalk. So there was a lot of, usually what we would do is show what the existing elevations are along the back of, where we're tying in the drawings. And a lot of that was missing because I think it was an oversight on so that we'll be showing like replacing a driveway, for example, and then they would just be showing like the length of the new driveway and the width of the sidewalk, but there wasn't any information that showed us those elevations. So we would propose going forward as a lessons learned to make sure that when we get drawings from outside consultants, that there is additional joint elevations that are provided, and that we do additional checks, especially at to make sure that they're that they are able to join with the existing improvements that are, and then we're not going to create like a step at the end. So, and then the other part in kind of in the construction phase, the effort is in this like the construction staking. We had the contractor is required to submit what we call grade sheets, which shows the staking information and the elevations that the the surveyor is getting, and we have been flagged by the contractor when there is a significant differences between our design drawing and what the staking surveyor is doing. And I think, and what we're going to do is just make sure that if we do spot those, we increase kind of the significant differences that we see, like to maybe 3/100ths. So that's kind of like point, if it's like 100, if our elevation is 100, if it's like 100.03, then that's something we should be flagging as a difference, and kind of making sure that it's not going to affect other areas. So that's one of the other lessons learned that we'll be applying to our projects. And then with that, I think I'm gonna pass the mic to my principal civil engineer to address question 3.
Good morning, President, Commissioners. My name is Norm Alvis, Street Improvement Division. Norm Alvis, Street Improvement Division. Question number 3, will there be any cost recovery from the design consultants since they are the source of the error, or will the city shoulder the cost? So we do have provisions within our executed contract for any damages per applicable law, any negligence or bad services that the consultant will be held liable through professional liability insurance. We're going to consult with the city attorney to see how we pursue this, and then we'll just take it from there to see what extent we can do. But however, independent of this process, when consultants submit a proposal to the city, a big factor of that is their history of past performance. So it's evaluated on a scale. We have 1 through 100 through various different evaluation criteria, and one of them, which is between 10 and sometimes 20 points, their past experience and their history working with the city. And then, of course, if they don't perform well, their score is going to be low. So there's very likelihood that they will never be working for the city again, because there's a lot of other consultants who do provide proposals and they will score higher. And also to touch base on a point that George was making, this program has many projects with a lot of grants and deadlines. And sometimes what happens is there's limited resources, because a lot of the projects that have, street design, has, lighting, it also has transportation elements, and Department of Water and Power elements for utilities. They need to get reviewed by many agencies. And what happens sometimes is, due to limited staff for many different departments, the review periods take a little bit longer. But the grant funding deadlines don't expire. So if you have a $22 million project, you have to deliver, and very strict agencies won't give you an extension. You would have to deliver no matter what cost. And sometimes, in some cases, things don't always get fully captured. Like we're seeing some errors and omissions on some projects. And this is a general discussion. That's sometimes the source of errors and omissions. If things don't always get captured, sometimes things don't get reviewed during the design phases, because it doesn't hold that process. But we have to bid the project out. We're trying to avoid that in the future, and we're trying to see how much extensions we're getting. We're communicating currently with different state agencies and federal agencies about allowing us to get these extensions, especially because of the fires that have happened in the Palisades. That's really strained some resources. As you all know, street services and Department of Water and Power are now over there to assist with that. But I think overall city staffing, especially with our own divisions, sometimes you have one person managing 5 or 6 projects. And we're all trying to sort this out. Obviously, we try to work with the resources we have. In some cases, because we got so many grants assigned to us, we don't really have that choice. It's either lose the money, or if you don't do the project, you lose the money. And have to do it. But of course, in the future, the message has been clear that we try to work to our resources and limit the amount of grants if we don't have the staffing. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Commissioners, questions? First up, we have President Pro Tem Gray.
Thank you for that report. And I actually appreciate the questions that were asked by my fellow commissioners Chavez and Cardenas about, the three questions that you came before today. I'm a little concerned that I appreciate the checks in the future that you're going to make sure that are in place. But George, the driveway example of that the elevation wasn't registered or taken into consideration. As everyone knows, I'm no engineer, but for my field, whether it was negotiating contracts, organizing plants, filing, labor board charges, there's certain aspects that are elementary. And it would seem to see the elevation would be pretty elementary to me. And I guess the best part about this is, which I think for those listening, the appreciate the role of the Board of Public Works is that these things come to light. There's a questioning that that serves to improve the process, and I applaud the steps that you're going to take in the future, and that you now realize or appreciate that we have to do X, Y, and Z now to make sure this thing doesn't come up. And I think I appreciate the work on this and coming back. And frankly, I think it's a moment for us to appreciate the role of this board and what we can do and how we in fact improve and make our city more effective in the work that it does.
Thank you very much. Next, I know Commissioner Mitchell.
I join with Commissioner Grant, and thank you for your responses to some of the questions that were addressed. I think the best lessons learned, obviously, is to check and double check. And I know everybody has very limited resources in terms of personnel and/or dollars, and we're fully aware of it in the short time we've been on the board. And this has been a problem for long before we ever thought about being here, so to speak. So I don't know if this is the time I'm prepared to make a motion to accept to approve the request, and also make sure that we follow up and pursue any efforts at the errors and omissions policy. There might be some circumstances out there that bring the number down, doesn't really matter. But, I think in a circumstance like this, please don't wait to come to the board to actually pursue the possibility that you do have a claim for errors and omissions for the consultant that was responsible for the surveys. And that way that can get started, and then we can possibly at this point in time talk about the possibilities. I know things take time. The possibilities of recouping some of the money that we have to pay out to the contractor, because the contractor was not at fault by any stretch of imagination.
Yeah.
They're given a set of plans everybody presumes is correct. I appreciate that there was some discussion, and maybe we probably are talking about something more substantially in terms of what that time delay payout would have been had everybody just gone toe to toe and said, I insist, this is my number. So if you were able to resolve it for under $600,000, given the fact that we're talking about a year and 9 months delay, I think that's commendable. So that's my thoughts on the process.
Thank you. Did you want to address any of that before we?
Yes.
Yes.
Of course, errors and omissions due to the survey, also like utility, things not being captured, all of that. We're going to pursue it with the city attorney. I'm 100% I will do that.
All right, moving on to Commissioner Cardenas.
Yes, thank you. I fully understand the fact that we don't have adequate in-house staff, and that's 100% why we go to outside consultants.
Yeah.
And I find it interesting that it would be unfortunate that the solution to this problem is using that minimal staff that we have to go ahead and verify the work that these consultants that we're being paid to do, or we have to go ahead and double check their work. I don't think it's the best use of our time or the city time. That's up to BOE to figure that out. Understanding that, we may go back and have to go through errors and omissions to see if, in fact, this consultant provided, not the best quality work for the contractor to go ahead and do this. And again, for a year and 9 months to go by to stop that project, that's not the best use of city time and city money, especially with grants being time sensitive. So I don't know what we can do to go ahead and fix this, understanding that possibly the fact that this consultant may not rise up to the level and may not be used again, that's a different story. But we have to make sure that the consultants that we do call on are qualified and are providing the work that we need to do so we can move forward and not potentially lose those grants. So that's what we need to verify. And I don't know how we can make sure we come back when you talk to the city engineer to see if there's any compensation back to the city for this project. That would be most helpful to this board.
Okay,
Thank you.
definitely.
Thank you, Vice President Chavez.
Yes, thank you for coming back with the additional information. That was really helpful as we're trying to understand what the underlying issues were here. It does seem to me to still be a project oversight issue here. Not just, it's not really the cost. I don't think that even the contingency and what went over is even that unusual. It is, I think, the delay, obviously, that impacted the community is what I'm concerned about. They were living, the folks that live along Jefferson were dealing with that interruption. But as we are, we're going to be seeing more projects that are complete street projects as part of now with HLA requirements. We're going to start seeing more and more of these. So we do need to figure out on the project management side how we streamline this a little bit easier. And I would really be would like to hear more from the Bureau about how we do that, what some recommendations are where we can help improve project oversight, project management of these kinds of things. That's why I asked the lessons learned question, because that's going to need to be included as part of how we approach projects moving forward. I know this project's still under construction, but in future projects as well, I am interested in introducing a motion at a future meeting that looks at specifically project oversight, project management, not just of ATP projects, but any other complete street projects that we have on the horizon. So I'll work with President and Executive Officer to do that, and would love to get more recommendations from staff as well on that.
Okay,
Thank
that sounds good.
All right, commissioners, any other questions or comments, or would you like to address?
I just want to comment really quick to Commissioner Chavez's, and a lot of these recommendations, as a project manager for the city, it really does fall on the project manager to make sure that the deliverables we get from the consultants are accurate and complete. So when things like this happen, it really it affects me too, because that's something like this could cause such a delay. And the other part now is that we have done is try to identify the issue, and we're gonna we had kind of brainstormed what we can do to make sure that doesn't happen again. So one of the things we had discussed really internally was kind of like maybe updating our checklist for when we get deliverables from the consultant, and just making sure that that's up to date, that's all checked for. Internally, that would be for our division, but we can definitely kind of extend that out to as a bureau for our for that checklist. So that way we kind of keep this living document. As we encounter issues, we're also learning from those and making improvements. Thank you.
Also, one one last thing, it's never in any interest to delay the project for a long period of time and just resolve problems in the field as we see it. And that's also something that we're also working on this project and others as well. But ultimately, the best solution is to have plans and specs that don't have any errors, obviously. Yeah, and so that's, yeah. And we do like street design, even though it seems like it's not complicated, it gets complicated because you're dealing with so many different agencies that we have to coordinate appropriately with relocations and so on, and those sometimes causes the delays. But we are working internally to make sure that it's more streamlined in the future. And then projects that have gone out that are currently in construction that do have problems, we're also trying to mitigate those. But of course, future ones before they go out to bid, that will be we'll make sure everything is sound. Those.
All right, thank you very much. Any other comments or questions? Commissioner Cardenas.
Just one short comment. And I understand the fact that, or the need for a checklist, but there's a point where, and I think you just mentioned it, it's the quality of the deliverable that makes the sense. I mean, to go ahead and check every single,
Yeah, that's not
to go ahead and check every single data point is like, why have the consultant at that point?
That's not, you're right, that's not efficient. That's why we try to put it on the contractor to make sure, even maybe there's something that I also was trying to discuss of having an affidavit for the consultant to sign indicating that what they're putting on the plans is accurate, because sometimes you'll see slopes can't be more than 2% for the sidewalk. Sometimes on the plans, it'll see 1.8%, 1.6%, you do a check, but then when you get on the field, it's more. So there has to be an affidavit. That's what I was trying to suggest internally to make sure these things don't happen.
Thank you.
And one other thing that we've been doing is, even though we have a set of like construction drawings, we want it to be accurate, reflect everything that's 100%. But that rarely happens. Things come up in the field. So what we've been doing now is that we've been more involved on the construction side. Is that with our construction manager. So when we do see maybe some surfaces we're not joining, for example, we're able to kind of train our engineers to be able to address that right on the field instead of waiting for a drawing to be produced. So right now I've been working with our project manager, Amon here, and he's been going out, looking at the driveways and trying to fix some of the issues with the joint. So we've been doing that more on the fly, and that has allowed the contractor to continue working without having to pause. So kind of lessons learned here was that we had paused the work, wait for the drawings to be produced. So as a result, now we're kind of just moving forward, and only like issues where we completely have to like redesign a ramp because it just doesn't work. There's a critical utility that's in the way that we didn't see. We'll reserve that for, we have to produce a new drawing. But a lot of times now, things like this we can just fix in the field. We're gonna do that and keep the project moving.
All right, thank you very much. Last call for any questions or comments. All right, seeing none, is there a motion?
Second.
First by Commissioner Mitchell, seconded by President Pro Tem Grant.
Very well, we will go ahead and take a roll call vote on approval of item 1, starting with you, President Kang.
Aye.
Vice President Chavez.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Grant.
Aye.
Commissioner Mitchell and Commissioner Cardenas.
Aye.
All ayes. Item 1 is adopted and will move forward forthwith.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, President and Commissioners.
Moving on to item number 2 for Council Districts 2, 4, 5, 10, 11, and 13 contract award for our sidewalk repair program package number 73.
Okay. Good morning, President Commissioner King and Commissioner and boards. My name is David Nguyen, and I am a civil engineer for the BOE Sidewalk Repair Program. I am here with my senior engineer, Mr. Omar Brace. The Bureau is requesting authority to award Sidewalk Repair Program package number 73 to Geronimo Concrete, Inc., who was the lowest responsible contractor, for the contract amount of $2,311,649 and related recommendations. Just to give you a little context and background, the project is being delivered by the Sidewalk Repair Program, SRP. The delivery method for this project is design bid build, The project includes sidewalk repair and accessibility upgrades of pedestrian facilities at 28 access request sites. The access request support program mix repair requests for people with mobility disabilities who encounter physical barriers such as broken sidewalk, missing and broken curb ramps, or other barriers within the City of Los Angeles public right-of-way. The contract duration is 210 calendar days, and this includes approximately 29,000 square feet of concrete. On May the 7th, 2025, 5 bids were received. Geronimo Concrete deemed the lowest responsible bidder. The project is being funded via road maintenance and rehab program special funds. This concludes my reports. Do you have any questions?
Thank you very much, Commissioners. Any questions? I know we have one for Commissioner Mitchell.
David, thank you for your report. In our discussion prior to today, when we were doing the briefing, in the future, when we have these packages, I'd like to have added to the information, including the project sites, when the access request was initially made, so that we can track the timeliness of the date of the request and when we're actually sending these out for bid. Okay?
Yes,
Thank-
absolutely. For future projects such as 80, 81, and 82 that's coming up, we will implement that into
Thank
this
you.
board
I
report.
appreciate that.
Thank you. And then can you remind us the project duration?
The project's duration is 210 calendar days. We anticipate to issue the NTP in October 2025 and finish construction in next year in September.
So there's been quite a few comments to the board related to just the city's inability to meet its deadline. Are there mechanisms to keep our contractors accountable to that duration?
Yes, we do. So within our spec itself, we do have liquidated damages to keep them accountable for it. But to be honest with you, so far we haven't go to the extent to use it. We try our best to work with the general contractor within the constraints that we have. Let's say the project may be delayed because of unforeseen conditions. So due to those, we do work with them to add additional days. But that is one mechanism that we have available to use.
And is that at the discretion of the project manager?
That, yes, in conjunction with my senior.
Okay. All right. Any other questions or comments?
I have one more. In the past, most of these packages have been a lot all across the city, and this particular package has seemed to be a lot more concentrated in CD5, more so than any, and then I see one for CD2, a couple for CD10, and one for CD8. One of the things that I think when we start looking at these packages, this is probably one that's mostly concentrated more so in one council district than the others. And I can appreciate that sometimes contractors don't want to go pop all over the city, so to speak. But what I would like to see is more of these packages coming to us so we can actually track in terms of equity how we're actually spending our money. The city's sidewalk problem is notorious. And so I'm sure there are lots of projects all over the place. So one or two things, either we're going to go back to the other program where we have them all over the city in one package, or we need to have more packages coming to us at a quicker rate so that we can actually see that all parts of the city are being serviced. Okay?
Right. Yeah, thank you for that recommendation. So previously, a lot of our packages and sites was a little bit over in the city, but since this package 72, 73, 74, in this case 73, we consolidate a lot of the sites, the construction sites, that's pretty close by. So you can see one group right here, another group right here. So hence, from starting from 72, 73, 74, 75, we did take your recommendation into and implement it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Did you have anything?
Just to add to your
If you want to speak into the mic, please.
yeah, sorry. My name is Omar Bresh. I'm the senior civil engineer for the Sidewalk Division. To add on to what David was saying, so regarding, like you mentioned, we bunch them together in certain locations within the vicinity to have it more, the contractors to mobilize quicker and to meet their deadline for their duration as well. So that's one of the items. But to your point that we do have small contracts that we issue, we issued 16 last fiscal year, which were throughout the city, and they were working on different districts. So we do produce a lot of those, but these larger projects, the ones that we're anticipating right now are 80, 81, and 82 that are coming up. So they're good size and they're kind of spread throughout the city as well. So that's why. Just thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? All right, seeing none, is there a first and a second?
Second.
First by Commissioner Mitchell, seconded by President Pro Tem Grant.
Very well. We will go ahead and take a roll call vote on approval of item 2, starting with you, President Kang.
Aye.
Vice President Chavez.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Grant.
Aye.
Commissioner Mitchell. And Commissioner Cardenas.
Aye.
All ayes. Item 2 is adopted and will move forward forthwith.
Thank you very much, Mr. Knight. Does that conclude our desk for today?
It does, President Kang.
Our next meeting will be on Friday, September 12th, 2025, here at the Downtown LA City Hall and that at Van Nuys. The meeting is now adjourned. Actually, yes, it is at Van Nuys, right? No, my apologies. I'm getting confused. It'll be here at Downtown LA City Hall and not at Van Nuys. And Van Nuys City Hall meeting will be next Friday. So, so here back at Downtown LA, Friday, September 12, 2005. The meeting is now adjourned at 11:02 a.m.